Hey everybody, this is dHunter, bringing another action figure collection video. This is going to be episode 30 of dHunter's complete, unopened, Batman-related action figure collection. This is going to be part 7 of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles collection. I've been waiting to this video for a long time. This is going to be the DC Direct and DC Collectibles Arkham figures. Figures from Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight. This is one of my favorite Batman action figure lines ever made. They went really deep with the characters. In this video, we'll take a look at each of the figures, wave by wave. We'll check out what I have unopened and what I have open as well. Now I have 100% everything from this line. Every single figure and every single packaging variation. I also have everything open. There's one exception why I don't have, and that was a Rocksteady employee exclusive Batman figure. It was made and given out only to the people who worked for Rocksteady and worked on the game. Not really obtainable to the general public. I've never even seen one for sale online. Bet that thing would get a couple $1,000s. Would absolutely love to add one to the collection, but I have everything that's obtainable for a regular person. If you want to see how extensive my unopened Batman action figure collection is, check out episode 1, the overview. There will be a link in the description below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's see how we got to this point. And just a couple things to add. These Arkham games were very impactful to me as a huge Batman fan. I absolutely love every single one of them. All 4 are great in their own ways. The upcoming Gotham Knights game, it looks to be a similar style game, but it is a complete reboot. It's not set in the same Arkham universe. The upcoming The Suicide Squad versus the Justice League is set in the Arkham universe. Kind of interesting. But it looks like the figures should mesh pretty well. So let's continue. Before we dig into this video, let's take a quick look at my overall action figure collection. Here's when I had everything laid out in the house. So I think I've finally done it. I've unpacked all of the figures. As you can see here, we have the Diamond Select Toys Gotham Collection. Here's a bunch of my Mezco unopened figures. Some more Mattel stuff. Here's the Legends of the Dark Knight line. This is the Batman Power Attack line. Sort of Batman Unlimited. All my Justice League Unlimited stuff. This is the entire DC Direct and DC Collectibles Arkham Collection. Mattel's 1966 line, DC Superhero Girls, all the different NECA Batman figures, some Target exclusive line, all the amazing Yamaguchi figures back there, some Spin Master stuff, the Mattel Batman Missions line. Of course, in the very back, it's my entire comic collection with all the recent Mcfarlane releases in front. And above that, got a bunch of DC Direct and Mattel figures in the last several years. Moving on, pretty much the entire Mattel's The Batman line. Back here in the back, got my SH Figure Arts Batman figures. This side, we've got all the different Mattel Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins figures. Massive amount of piles. Back here we've got the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series figures, and a lot of them are on top as well. Can't wait to get to that video. That one and the Arkham Collection and DC Universe Classics. Some videos I'm really excited to do. Here are the Mattel figures. I can see the Batman Legacy, Batman Unlimited. It goes all the way from the original Batman line. Here's the Batmobile. And it's going to go all the way to DC Superheroes, DC Universe Classics, and Multiverse. A ton of figures. Great era with Mattel. Fun stuff. But I do like what Mcfarlane's doing. But I do miss these days, that's for sure. Going back to Kenner and Hasbro. Ton of Batman Beyond. Batman the Animated Series stuff. I mean, that just seemed endless to go through. My word. Look at these piles of unopened figures. Batman Animated Series continues all the way back here. Absolute ton of stuff just stacked up. On top of this table here, got all the Mafex figures and a bunch of one-offs. Some Hasbro, some Mcfarlane, or Mattel rather, anniversary figures. Amazing Yamaguchi, Kia Asima, all kind of different import type stuff. Then we've got JLA and Total Justice figures. And then on to all the rest of the DC Direct stuff. Bunch of DC Direct Batman related figures. Some more chill in the back here. And I filled up all these shelves temporarily, just storing all these DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And it's almost done. Here's the Mattel Batman Brave and the Bold line. I did not realize how extensive that got. And a ton more Brave and the Bold down here. Moving on again. Some old Toy Biz, Super Friends, and DC superhero figures. Leading into the Dark Knight collection. Then we'll go to the Batman Returns figures. And then, of course, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, a bunch of different Batcaves, and some more animated stuff in the back there. So we'll check out these figures game by game, starting off with the first game, Arkham Asylum, and we'll break them down by wave. Here are all the individual figures they released for Arkham Asylum. We have Batman, the Joker, Harley Quinn, Scarecrow, Battle Damage Batman, Armored Batman, Bane, Poison Ivy, and Zaz. Let's check out the first assortment. Here's Wave 1 of Arkham Asylum. Batman, the Joker with Scarface, Harley Quinn, and Scarecrow. Absolutely fantastic figures. Sculpts are amazing. Articulation could be better. And based off some of the best video games ever made. Definitely the best Batman games out there. They are absolutely fantastic as far as story goes. Graphics may be a little dated for this game at this point, but even the storyline and acting is superb. Let's go ahead and check out the packaging. As you can see, it's kind of shaped like a Batman cowl. We got the ears here, kind of circle for the head. Batman, Arkham Asylum. This is Batman from Series 1, collector action figure. DC Direct. The backside, you can see all 4 figures from Series 1. Joker, Scarecrow, Batman, Harley Quinn. Batman, Arkham Asylum. Then we have the Joker with Scarface. Now getting the Joker was enough for me, but getting a bonus Scarface, hell yeah. The sculpt on this guy is just fantastic, out of this world. Look at that face. The back, we have the rest of the wave. Here is Harley Quinn. She's in that sexy nurse outfit from the game. Very unique, but very fitting for her. She comes with Warden Sharp's cane and the Titan Joker formula. The rest of the wave on the back. And here is Scarecrow. Very unique look to the game. He's got his fear toxin injection fingers. He has that really creepy look to him. He has a bag of fear dust he was going to put into the Gotham City water supply. Really like this guy. Really like his design. The game was very creepy. Rest of the wave. Here's this Batman out of the package. This is Batman from Arkham Asylum. Very similar design to the Arkham City Batman. It's a great looking figure, but his articulation left a lot to be desired. I would love to see DC Direct make a more super articulated Arkham Asylum Batman. But that ship has sailed. DC Direct has collapsed and no longer exists. Mcfarlane did make a pretty cool Arkham Asylum Batman. Here's this Joker out of the box. Absolutely fantastic sculpt. One of the best Joker head sculpts I've ever seen. This Joker is definitely my top 5. His articulation could be a little better, but he's just so damn good. And look at this little Scarface. Nice bonus with the Joker. Here's the Harley Quinn figure. She's in her sexy nurse outfit. Not exactly traditional Harley Quinn, but I really do like the way this turned out. And here's Scarecrow. He looks sick, twisted, and deranged. He's got the gas mask on his face, the fear needles on his fingers. Really like this figure, although I don't like the fact that he's in sort of a crouching pose. And here's Series 2 of DC Direct's Arkham Asylum line. We have Armored Batman, Bane, Poison Ivy, and Mr. Zsasz. I believe this was the first time that Zsasz got an action figure from any company, and that's what appeals to me the most. Getting new Batman characters that haven't had action figure releases before. So let's check them out. They're continuing with the Batman cowl type of bubble, Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Armored, Series 2 collector action figure. He's only mildly armored, suits repainted a little bit of armor pieces on the front and back. He comes with a remote claw, pretty cool accessory. The backside, you can see Series 2, looks fantastic together. Batman Arkham Asylum. Here's Bane. Now he's considerably larger and heavier than the other figures. His bubble is way bigger. You can see it next to Batman. But he costs the same, and that was really cool. DC Direct did that a few times at this period. Gave you some really big figures, great value. They stopped doing that pretty quick though. I remember these guys became very valuable in the aftermarket, especially Bane here. He was worth like well over $100. At one time they did re-release these figures though, and that brought the value down. Batman Arkham Asylum, Bane Series 2. He is just huge, as you can see. Backside, got the rest of the wave. Poison Ivy. She looks pretty good. She's got shirt on, very green skin, sculpted vines all over her. It's a nice looking Poison Ivy, although I personally prefer the human flesh version. Rest of the wave. And then Zsasz. He's in his orange prison outfit, mostly naked. I wish he had full clothes on so I could use him in a lot of action figure scenarios. He's also in this crouching position, both Zsasz and Bane. It was really annoying to have him in this pre-posed, stuck position. Two knives, Batman cowl. Very excited to actually get Mr. Zsasz, even though in the game he didn't look quite like I would have liked him to look from the comics. Rest of the wave. Here's Armored Batman out of the box. Now you couldn't actually use the skin in the game. You could only use it during the sort of challenge mode fighting matches. Not a bad looking figure. The cowl is a little bit different. You can see he's got some armor pieces on his suit. The backside, always remember this on his neck. He also came with that remote claw, and I remember the handle was so thick it was really difficult to hold some of those accessories. Really didn't think they did a good job on executing those. They look fantastic though. Here's Bane. He's wearing the orange prison pants. Figure looks great, although his backpack and tubes broke almost immediately. A lot of breakage issues at this point in time during DC Direct's history. His articulation is almost non-existent, but the detail is fantastic. His arms literally just go up and down. No elbow articulation, no knee articulation. He's pre-posed in this awful sitting position. I'd assume they did that just to make him fit in the package. He should have been some giant deluxe figure. He does look very nice though. I mean, just look at that face sculpt. They did a fantastic job with the sculpts on these figures. Here's Poison Ivy. I was happy they made almost all the villains from the game. They didn't make a Killer Croc at the time, but they remedied that later. Now, Ivy has this plant look to her. These vines and leaves all over her. Her sort of panties look like they're made of leaves. She has a shirt on, and it looks to be her prison suit. It has the Arkham logo on the back. Hair always reminded me of the Bride of Frankenstein. But especially with them canceling the Arkham Knight Poison Ivy, I'm very happy we at least got this one. And here is Zsasz. He's in orange prison clothing. This is just how he looked in the game. Happy to check Zsasz off of my list of Batman rogues in action figure form, but would have much preferred one fully clothed. That way we could use him outside of an Arkham Asylum type setting. He looks good. You can see he's got the scars all over his body. I guess he has some sort of marks tattooed on his head. Some actual chains hanging off. He's in this pre-posed position with no knee articulation. I don't know why they thought that would be a good idea. Now, as action figure collectors, does anyone actually want figures in a crouching position like this? I can think of one thing. If you want to watch them taking a dump on a toilet. I mean, come on, DC Direct. Why would you have ever thought this is a good decision? Now, in addition to Series 1 and Series 2, they made this 2010 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Battle Damaged Batman. Batman Arkham Asylum Battle Damaged Batman collector action figure. Limited to 4,000 pieces. 2010 Comic-Con. Batman looks like no accessories. A little bit of damage. The back. There's an advertisement for Wave 1. Here's the Battle Damaged Batman out of the box. Now, if I recall correctly, I believe this guy came out before Series 1 or Series 2, kind of teasing you for this excellent line. Batman with a little bit of damage on him. It's actually sculpted, not just painted on, all the different pieces. And the best part, his cape is damaged. I really like how they made that happen. You can even see in the middle there. Very nicely done. Later, DC Direct released Series 1 in a 4-pack. I mentioned on this earlier, but when these figures first dropped, they ended up becoming rare and valuable. They did another run of Series 1 in the original packaging, and then later they also re-released this 4-pack. I didn't get this 4-pack to open because I didn't think there were any differences with the figures. So let's take a look at it. This was years later when DC Direct had become DC Collectibles. 75 years of Batman, the Joker, Harley Quinn, Batman, and Scarecrow 4-pack, Arkham Asylum. They do come with all the accessories the original releases came with, and that's pretty nice. One side, Joker and Harley. Other side, of course, Batman and Scarecrow. On the back, an advertisement for some other multi-packs. We have an Arkham Origins 4-pack and an Arkham City 4-pack. These are all just straight-up re-releases, but cool if you missed these the first time around. Now, I don't really see any significant differences, but with looking at Harley Quinn, the 4-pack version does have blood all over her skirt. So there are at least some minute differences. Batman also appears to be more of a black color scheme versus blue and gray. Still didn't seem worth purchasing this thing a second time to open, but I had to get it for my complete unopened collection. And while not part of the DC Direct and DC Collectibles Arkham Collection, Mcfarlane made some Arkham Asylum figures in their DC Multiverse line. They gave us an Arkham Asylum Batman and Arkham Asylum Joker. They are 7-inch scale. They fit in okay with the DC Direct stuff. They're a little bit bigger. I really hope Mcfarlane continues to make Arkham Asylum and other Arkham figures. They did a great job with these. We have the Platinum Chase variant, bronze repaint of both Batman and Joker, the regular individual release of both Batman and Joker, and then the 2-pack where they're muddied and tightened up. And here are all these Mcfarlane Arkham Asylum figures out of the box. Fantastic figures. Their sculpt may be a little bit softer than DC Direct's, but their articulation is vastly improved. Now, a glaring omission to the Rogues Gallery from Arkham Asylum was Killer Croc. He was one of the bosses in the game. Of course, Killer Croc was this giant, massive character in the game, so he obviously wouldn't have fit in with the regular figures. I don't think they had the idea for deluxe figures until they saw how popular the Arkham Asylum figures sold, and then at Arkham City they made a bunch of deluxe figures. Here's both the Titan Joker and Killer Croc. Now, these aren't actually under the Arkham Asylum banner. That's why I'm doing them after the Arkham Asylum figures, but they're definitely from the Arkham Asylum game mostly. The Titan Joker wasn't in Arkham City in any way, shape, or form. Killer Croc was, but just like a 2-second cameo. Now, if you look at the packaging, they do have the Arkham City logo, but it's very nice. They gave us a chance to complete the collection. These are some giant deluxe, oversized figures. And this might give you a rough idea how much bigger these figures are than your standard 7-inch Arkham figures. Here's Killer Croc. He's in a large box. They couldn't fit him into the regular bubble package. Batman, Arkham Deluxe figure, Killer Croc, DC Collectibles. The sculpt on this guy is amazing. Did a great job. Arkham Deluxe figure. One side got Croc posed up. Other side, closer look. On the back, an advertisement for some more deluxe figures. Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze from Arkham City, and the Titan Joker. Here's Croc out of the box. This was one of my most anticipated Arkham figures. Not only were we going to complete the Rogues Gallery from the first game, but he's this giant, gorgeous-looking Killer Croc. An oversized figure like this was not too common to get, especially back then. Of course, DC Direct had a lot of problems. This guy broke as soon as I opened him. His leg broke off. I believe his shoulder broke off over time later as well. I did some trick where you could take a screw, screw it into both pieces of his arm and leg, and get that to work again. Articulation was still minimal. But like I said, he looks amazing. Look at that sculpt. Every piece of this guy. Although, you're definitely getting a lot of good looks, but a lot of poor articulation. Could barely move his elbows, his shoulders. His hips could barely move. His knees, it was all just so tight and minimally articulated. But it's such a beautiful piece that I can kind of forgive that. And I liked this figure so much that I bought a third one. One to keep unopened. My first one that broke. And then I got another one, hoping to have one that wouldn't break. Now his articulation was so rough, and there were so many breakage reports about this guy, I was scared to use him. I barely handled this guy at all. And guess what? Over time, he broke also. Thank you, DC Direct, for giving me this awesome figure that I can't even use. Really annoying. Spent a bunch of money to get a second one. Still had the same problems. Now, allegedly, there was another re-release of this figure later, and had much sturdier joints. But all three of them that I have are from the initial release. And in case you were curious how much bigger Croc is than Batman, very giant oversized figure. Here's the Deluxe Titan Joker. Titan Joker was the final boss in the first game, and this guy is even larger than Killer Croc. Batman, Arkham Deluxe figure, Titan Joker, DC Collectibles. Sculpt is amazing on this guy. One side you can see Titan Joker. Other side, closer look. The back, same three deluxe figures in advertisement. Here's this giant Titan Joker out of the box. Now, it's a wonderful figure. It looks fantastic. Articulation is pretty stiff, similar to Killer Croc. And this guy was not without his flaws as well. When this guy first came out, I ordered 3 of them. One to keep unopened, and 2 to open. I thought maybe I could use one for a Titan Joker thug. He had several of those in the game. 2 of them, literally the second I took them out, their leg was already broken in the package. Their entire leg broke off. I was really disappointed and pissed off. These guys were pretty expensive. I ended up contacting the person I bought them from. He actually opened 2 more of them, tested them to make sure everything was good. He said when he did that, the first 2 he opened broke as well. Then he sent me 2 more that didn't break. He let me keep the other ones. He said DC Direct didn't require them to be sent back. So I ended up with 4 loose ones, which was great for my purposes. Let's take a look at this guy before we continue with that story. Face is amazing. Look at that. Look at that smile. He's got this mohawk on the top. His flesh is ripped apart everywhere. He's got bones sticking out. Giant claws. Spiky back. Kind of disgusting. Just like the game. He's got these green veins. Venom, Titan, all in there. Now this guy here, he is glued at the hip. 0 articulation remaining there. Like both of them broke at the exact same spot. This is what I did with all 4 of these loose ones. One is kept as is for Titan Joker. 2 of them were turned into tightened up Joker thugs. And then one of them is a tightened up Harley Quinn thug. I've definitely toyed with the idea of getting another one to make a tightened up Penguin thug, but I felt like it wasn't necessary. I just wanted to have some tightened up thugs among my Joker henchmen, especially since he had several different variations in the game. They later made this Arkham Asylum 2-pack. It contains Batman vs. Bane. Now the original Bane is a big figure, but it was stuck in this crouching pose. This is an even bigger Bane, a little bit more accurate to the game. And then it comes with an Arkham Asylum Batman, repainted in black colors. I actually always thought this was an Arkham City 2-pack. Now taking a closer look at it, realize it's actually for Arkham Asylum. Batman, Arkham Asylum, Batman vs. Bane action figure 2-pack. DC Collectibles, we've got Batman and Bane. Bane's actually standing completely upright and is massive, huge. Batman and Bane. A little close-up here on the back. You can see an advertisement for the other 2-packs. Of course, this one containing the Deluxe Bane was a little bit more expensive. Here's this Batman and Bane out of the pack. It's a darker colored Arkham Asylum Batman, which is pretty cool. And then Bane, he's giant, better articulated, and better in pretty much every way than the first one. Although the first one had a very nice head sculpt. Here are all 3 of my regular Arkham Asylum Batman figures. I can tell you where each one came from. This was the single Arkham Asylum first release. This was the release from the 2-pack behind you. And this guy came in a 4-pack containing an Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight Batman. Here's the original Bane, next to this new revamped Deluxe Bane. You tell me which one you like better. The face on the old one is very nice, but this new figure is way improved. Now before we move past the Arkham Asylum collection, let's check out some of my armies. In the game, Bane, Scarecrow, Killer Croc, and Mr. Zsasz didn't have any kind of armies. Here's an example of some Arkham Asylum style Joker thugs, and some tightened up Joker thugs. Here's Poison Ivy, next to some of her plant pods, both open and shut. Here's Batman, with a couple of substitutes for some of those Arkham inmates that are crazy with the straitjackets running around in the game. These are some Buffy the Vampire Slayer figures from Hush. Here's a custom Warden Sharp, next to a bunch of Arkham Asylum guards. These customs are actually supposed to be Arkham Origins SWAT officers, but they work good for both purposes. Now that'll wrap up the Arkham Asylum collection. Now let's move on to Arkham City. And DC Direct, DC Collectibles went all out for Arkham City. Here's a look at all of the individually packed figures. There are 22 of them. Between the individual figures, the deluxe figures, the multi-packs, like I said, they went all out. They left no stone unturned. They made pretty much every possible figure you could ever want from that game. Don't get me wrong, I could probably name 10 more that I would have bought, but that's just me. Those would be some really obscure characters. Let's go ahead and check out the first series. Here's the first series of Arkham City figures by DC Direct. They start off kind of small with only 3 figures. We've got the infected, unmasked Batman, Robin, and Harley Quinn. As you can see, they decided to continue with the Batman cowl-shaped bubble packaging. Batman, Arkham City, Batman Infected Series 1 collector action figure. The Bruce Wayne head, it looks pretty good, but it's sick and infected. It comes with a cryographic sequencer. DC Direct. In the back, you can see the rest of the first assortment. Arkham City. Here's Robin, Arkham City. This was Tim Drake. He's got the hood on, kind of reminiscent of Damian. He comes with a staff. Rest of the first assortment. And then we have Harley Quinn, Series 2. She comes with a Harley Quinn bat. She looks pretty cool. Pigtails, new outfit for the second game. Very similar to some of the outfits she had in Injustice or the beginning of the Suicide Squad. Back, Series 1. Here's the Series 1 infected unmasked Batman out of the package. Now I found it very interesting that we'd lead off Series 1 with an unmasked infected Batman and not a standard Arkham City Batman. It reuses a lot of parts from the Arkham Asylum Batman, but with new gauntlets, new shin guards, new belt, new cape. The Bruce Wayne head, it looks really nice, but the fact that it's infected kind of limits what you can do with it. I know this is from a specific part of the game where he removes his cowl, shows Talia he's sick, but I would have much preferred to have had an unmasked, non-infected Batman. They could have at least re-released this guy later without the veins. Would have been very nice. And now I did get a third Batman figure here. I wanted to take his head and make it Bruce Wayne in civilian attire, and that's just what I did. But I never actually got around to repainting this guy's other side of the face, so he still looks infected. Could have been an easy fix, but he's still happy to have him. And here's Robin. Pretty good looking Tim Drake. A modern interpretation of him. Articulation is still kind of limited, but every Batman needs his Robin. And here's Harley Quinn. She looks good. Articulation a little subpar. My figure has gotten quite loose over the years. Face sculpt's nice. The hair looks good. Outfit looks pretty good. Here are the figures from Series 2. They decided to make up for lost time. Instead of 3 figures, they released 5. Now, they felt like every series had to have a Batman figure. This wave has Batman in detective mode, Catwoman, the Riddler, Jervis Tech, the Mad Hatter, and Hush. Really excited to get some of these figures. Sure, we've had a Riddler, Mad Hatter, and Hush by DC Direct before, but these are some pretty cool, unique versions. Here's this wave's Batman, detective mode. He's in that sort of blue, enhanced coloring. Detective mode was used in both the first and second game, and I found this to be a completely unnecessary variant. He came with the electric gun. Back, you can see the rest of the second assortment, all 5 figures. Here's Arkham City Catwoman. She functioned as an ally of Batman in the game. She came with her bolas, which is a very nice accessory to have. She looks pretty nice. The rest of Series 2. Now we have the Riddler. He was behind all the question marks in the game. You kind of had an option to sort of ignore them and continue the story, or do all of them and take him out. Removable hat, cane. Looks like kind of a washed up Riddler. I like the way it looks. The rest of the wave. And here is Jervis Tech, the Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter, very small figure, not a good value, poorly articulated, removable hat, but nice to have another Bat-Rogue. The rest of Series 2. And finally, Arkham City Hush. He wasn't a boss in the game, but you could do his story mode and sort of meet him at the end. Sort of teasing into the next game. 2 pistols. Hush, very similar outfit to his comic counterpart. Looks great. Very happy to add a better version of Hush. This is the second one DC Direct made. One from their Hush line. But this guy was better articulated and looked way better. Series 2. Here's Detective Mode Batman out of the package. It's more or less a repaint of the infected Batman. A couple of minor differences like the cape and of course the head. Completely unnecessary Batman, really only good for display purposes. Here's the Arkham City Catwoman. They chose to put her goggles on top of her head, not on her eyes. I kind of prefer them on her eyes. I know she spent a lot of the game like this. Her articulation, kind of mediocre. I actually prefer the Mattel Arkham City Catwoman. She does look pretty good, though. Here's the Riddler. I always thought he looked like kind of a drunk, washed-up Riddler. Kind of looking a hot mess. Suit unkept. Here's Jervis Tech, or the Mad Hatter. A very small figure, and he costs the same as the others. His articulation was also horrible. Pre-post arms, I believe one of them broke off, and almost no leg articulation. He should have either been way cheaper, or come with some extra stuff packed in. Here's Hush, or Thomas Elliott. This is actually an improvement over DC Direct's previous offering. He looks fantastic. Sculpting is great. Articulation could be a little better, but I'm really pleased. This is probably my favorite Hush figure out there. Here's Series 3 of Arkham City. We finally got our standard, regular Arkham City Batman. Then we have Mcfarlane as Azrael, the Penguin, Rayshaw Ghoul, and Clown Thug number 1 and Clown Thug number 2. DC Direct was smart. They took their Joker Thug and get 2 different paint variations. Here's Batman, Arkham City, Batman. Finally have our regular paint variation of Batman from the game. It took until Series 3. This is a straight repaint of Detective Mode Batman. He does come with the explosive gel. On the back, you can see Series 3, 6 figures. Here's Azrael. It's Mcfarlane, not Jean-Paul Valley. He comes with a sword. This figure sculpt is fantastic. He looks amazing. The rest of the wave. Now we have the Penguin, a little shorter than the other figures. He has a removable hat, cigar, and then his umbrella. Shorter, so he's missing some fingers. He's got that bottle shoved into his eye. Very cool to have this crime boss. Series 3. Now we have Rayshaw Ghoul, the Demon's Head, one of Batman's greatest nemesis. He has a sword. Detail's pretty good. Tattoos on his arms. Series 3. Here is Arkham City Clown Thug. It's a Joker Thug. Comes with a knife, green hair, white flesh. Has the Arkham logo on his shirt. Series 3. And here's the other Clown Thug. He's a black guy, orange hair, a little bit different colored outfit. He comes with a bat instead of the knife. I absolutely love when you get henchmen for the mob bosses, and henchmen were a huge part of this game. Series 3. And I do wish they made henchmen for Penguin, Two-Face, etc., but it just didn't happen. Here's the regular Arkham City Batman. I feel like this is a figure everybody should have given us in Wave 1, and waited until Wave 3 to release the Infected Batman. Here's Azrael. The figure looks amazing. It's really cool to have sort of a Batman supporting character, although in the game you weren't really sure if he was an ally or an enemy. Articulation could be better, but the figure itself is fantastic. Here's Penguin out of the package. It's a cool figure. You gotta have Penguin. He's one of the first villains you encountered in the game, and there's a lot of story behind the way he looks. Notice he's missing some fingers. He's got this glass bottle shoved in his eye. Apparently can't remove it. Kind of got a fur coat, removable hat. Articulation is not super hot, but you don't really need a super articulated fat gangster. Here's Rayshaw Ghoul, the Demon's Head. This is one of the better 7-inch Rayshaw Ghouls out there. Leg articulation could be a little better, and the one that I have unopened, his face looks very scrunched up. This open one looks considerably better. Here are the 2 Clown Thugs out of the pack. I absolutely love the fact that they gave you 2 different paint variations. Great for army building purposes. Now, one annoying thing, these guys had these kind of horribly posed legs, no knee articulation. They got them in this weird crouching position. Just not sure why they do stuff like that. And of course, you know me, army building is my specialty. I had to get 3 of each of these guys open, so I bought a total of 4 of these Clown Thugs in total. And I made a couple of customs with these guys. The guy at the second one, that is Trog, one of Bane's henchmen, Zombie Trog and Bird. I used the body and a saber-tooth head to make that guy. And then the guy next to him, that's Captain Clown from Batman the Animated Series. I used the Joker Thug head off Trog's body. Just a couple stuff from my fodder pile. Made some great customs out of these guys. And here's Series 3. This contains another regular Batman from Arkham City, but this one has considerably more articulation. Then we have Nightwing, Talia Ghul, and Deadshot. This is the first time they ever released, and frankly the only time, a 6 or 7-inch Talia figure. And then Nightwing, I believe he wasn't even in the actual story mode, only in challenge mode. Arkham City, Batman Series 4. A lot more articulation, body looking a little smoother. He comes with, I believe, the remote control Batarang. Backside, here's the rest of Series 4. Arkham City, Nightwing. Pretty cool to put more members of Bat Family together. He comes with 2 batons. Rest of Series 4. Talia al Ghul, the daughter of Rayshaw Ghoul. She comes with that sword that we use at the end of the game on Clayface. Series 4. And here is Deadshot. Now, Deadshot had a pretty unique look in this game. It's kind of interesting. He's a white man in this game, but he's going to be a black man in the upcoming Suicide Squad versus the Justice League, which has been confirmed to take place in the Arkham universe. Just doesn't really make sense. It's all good, though. Series 4. Here's this Batman out of the pack. He has considerably more articulation. His body's a little bit leaner. He's probably my favorite DC Direct Arkham City or Arkham Asylum Batman. He can just move so much better than the other ones. Here's Nightwing. He has that iconic look, but more of a modernized suit. Really happy to have Batman, Nightwing, Robin, Catwoman, Azrael. Bat family's growing, Arkham style. Here's Talia. Now I was really excited to have a new Batman villain to add to the action figure world, but frankly this figure kind of sucks. Her articulation's bad. Mine got loose over time. One of the arms broke off. Her face kind of has a blank stare to it. Here's Deadshot. I always kind of liked how he looked in Arkham City. It looked like he sort of smuggled pieces of his outfit in there. It's sort of homemade, makeshift Deadshot costume. He was one of the prisoners at the beginning of the game, so we know he's been in the city for a little while. As the line was dwindling down, they did have a couple of individual releases later. These don't really have a series on them, but they finally gave us Two-Face, and they also gave us a Rabbit Hole Batman. They always felt like they had to have a Batman. Now, Two-Face was definitely a big omission to the line. I was happy to finally add him. But Rabbit Hole Batman, let's not kid ourselves. Nobody actually wanted that. Arkham City Two-Face. He's got a small coin, pistol, really nice sculpt, especially on his burnt side. The back, you can see it's just these 2 figures. And here's Rabbit Hole Batman. This is how Batman looked when he was sort of under the trance of Mad Hatter. Now, it is a cool looking figure, but definitely not necessary. He does have a battle damaged costume. These 2 figures. Here's Two-Face out of the box. Like I said, it's a very nice sculpt, especially the burnt side. And here's Rabbit Hole Batman. This is essentially an Arkham City Batman figure with a different head. His cowl is sort of transformed into a rabbity Batman mask. Now, I did head swap this guy. You may notice the body here is not battle damaged. I had an extra Arkham City regular Batman. I think it was from some multi-pack. So I decided to head swap them. I put the standard head onto the battle damaged body, giving an extra variation of Batman. Here's my Arkham City Batman with a battle damaged suit. This is not an official release, a head swap I made. Now, as he continued to play the game, his suit got progressively more damaged as the game continued. It was a pretty cool effect. And they also made these convention exclusives. The sickened variant of the Joker on the left here is a New York Comic Con exclusive from 2011. And if I recall correctly, I believe Hugo Strange was a New York Comic Con exclusive for 2012. Let's check him out. Joker, same from the Arkham Asylum, but he has this crazy, sick, looks like a zombified head. Limited 4,000 edition, New York Comic Con 2011. Arkham City, the Joker, sickened variant collector action figure. Back, it's simply the Joker there. And then Hugo Strange, a character you just needed from this game. He is one of the main villains in the game. Arkham City, Dr. Hugo Strange, convention exclusive action figure. Comes with a syringe. Back, simply Hugo. Very happy to add this guy to the Rogues collection. This is the best Hugo figure out there, if you ask me. Here's the infected Joker out of the box. It's the same Joker from Arkham Asylum, but he's repainted a little darker, a little dirtier, and then of course he has that crazy sick head. I mean, just look at that thing. Excellent job, DC Direct. Here's Hugo. He's in his white lab coat, has the Arkham City logo on him. This is the third Hugo Strange figure that I have. The old DC Direct version, and later they made a Diamond Select Toys version. All three are pretty nice, but this is my favorite. Hugo Strange, the Joker, and Rayshaw Ghoul were arguably the three main villains in the game, so you had to get Hugo to top it off. He also looks pretty good as a Hugo from the comic counterpart. Here are a couple of 2-packs I made for Arkham City. The one on the left is Mr. Hammer and Harley Quinn. The one on the right is Mr. Sickle and the Penguin. Now, I absolutely love these two characters, Mr. Hammer and Sickle. Siamese twins, separated. One works for the Joker, one works for the Penguin. They're enemies, but brothers. Some unique new Bat Rogues, some main unique henchmen. 2 thumbs up. Was so excited they finally made these guys. But, of course, they had to dampen things by forcing you to buy a Harley Quinn and Penguin that you already had, and forcing these 2-packs to be quite expensive. But you know what? I'll pay it. I'll pay it again if I have to. Great figures. Top, Batman Arkham City, DC Collectibles, Batman Arkham City, Mr. Hammer, and Harley Quinn action figure 2-pack. Harley Quinn is slightly repainted, a little bit lighter than the other version, but still really annoying to be forced to get her again. And then Mr. Hammer, my god, he's just an awesome, awesome figure. The intricate work on his tattoos. Harley and Mr. Hammer, close up, and in the back, you can see Harley and Hammer, Penguin and Sickle, and then Batman and Bane. Arkham City, Batman Arkham City, Sickle and the Penguin, action figure 2-pack. He comes with his giant sickle. Penguin has his hat. Penguin is also slightly repainted, but still extremely annoying to have to buy him twice. Still, even though they did that, I am so happy to have these guys in my collection. Here are the 2 of these figures out of the box. Just absolutely impressed and pleased with Mr. Hammer. I love henchmen. I love unique Batman characters. He is just best of both worlds. You can see how intricate the tattoo work is. Just so well done. And here's his stump. Got the stitching going across. Here's the original individual release Harley next to the 2-pack version. Paint job is a little bit different, but still doesn't justify getting them both. Here's the Penguin and Sickle. Penguin, pretty much exactly the same thing. Sickle, very cool. He's got that mean face. He's a brute. Tattoo work all over him. A little less intricate than the other guy. Here's his scar all the way down the side. Camo pants. And the single Penguin next to the 2-pack Penguin. Yes, there are some slight differences, but beyond annoying. Here's Mr. Hammer and Sickle together. The Abramovich twins. 2 tough Russian Siamese twin thugs and henchmen for both the Joker and the Penguin. What is not to love about these guys? Then they made this 4-pack. It was mostly based off the Arkham City DLC, Harley Quinn's Revenge. After the events of Arkham City, the Joker was dead. Harley Quinn was depressed, going crazy. She was a widow. The storyline was mostly about her, Batman and Robin. This 4-pack is going to include Robin, Harley Quinn, Batman and Nightwing. They come with a bunch of accessories, although it looked like Robin got the shaft on that one. As a bonus, you get Scarface completely repainted and Jokerized. Robin, Harley Quinn, Batman and Nightwing, Batman Arkham City, 75 Years of Batman, DC Collectibles. Here are the figures in the package. Nightwing painted a little bit different, and Harley Quinn significantly different. Here's Robin and Harley. And then Batman and Nightwing. On the back, we have an advertisement for the Arkham Origins 4-pack and the Arkham Asylum 4-pack that we've already shown. Here are all 4 of these figures out of the box. Robin was just slightly different from the individual release. Harley Quinn was significantly different. Batman was 100% identical. And Nightwing had a repainted blue, which I really like this version. Here are both versions of Robin, the individual release on the left. The only real differences are going to be the paint job on the gauntlets and the shins and the feet. Overall, it's pretty much the same thing. Here are the 2 Nightwings, the individual on the left. Now I really like this repaint. It makes me think of a comic Nightwing on the Arkham sculpt. Here are all 3 versions of the Arkham City Harley Quinn. Same sculpt, but the Harley Quinn's Revenge Harley looks considerably different. And I even have a full gang of Harley Quinn thugs, and a tightened up Harley Quinn thug to go with her. Let's not forget to look at the difference between these 2 little buggers. Now let's look at some of the larger deluxe figures. Here's Mr. Freeze. Now at the time, I was pretty annoyed that he cost so much. He was a deluxe figure, but he cost the same as Killer Croc. I found that very confusing. As you can see, Killer Croc was a much larger action figure. Mr. Freeze had some pretty intricate sculpting details, but it didn't seem like you were quite getting the same value. So let's check out the package. Batman, Arkham Deluxe figure, Mr. Freeze, DC Collectibles. He has a removable visor, his freeze ray. That's about it. He's a little bit bigger than an average figure because he's in his armored suit, but I didn't feel like it justified the price. Mr. Freeze on one side. Here's a close-up on the other side. Now he came out in the same assortment. Him, Killer Croc, and Titan Joker, all as deluxe figures. Titan Joker was a lot larger, so he'd cost more, but Croc and Freeze cost the same. I put Croc in the Arkham Asylum portion of the video because he was featured in there considerably more than Arkham City, but he was actually sort of advertised as Arkham City, coming out with Mr. Freeze. Here's Mr. Freeze out of the box. It's a very nice figure, but he was significantly overpriced at the time. I mean, what do you guys think? I thought it was insane these figures cost the same in their initial run. And the deluxe figures just kept getting larger. Here's the Arkham City Deluxe Solomon Grundy. I remember buying this guy from DCBService.com, 33% discount. I got this guy for a hell of a good price. I was so excited when they announced Solomon Grundy, because I thought to myself, if they're going to do Grundy, they're probably going to do Clayface too. Batman, Arkham Deluxe figure, Solomon Grundy. DC Collectibles. Here he is in the package, this giant zombie Solomon Grundy. Absolutely fantastic addition to the game and to the action figure collection. One side you can see Grundy posed up. Other side, nice close-up. And he has his removable chest cavity on the back. You can see an advertisement for the other 3 deluxe figures. And here's Grundy out of the box. An absolutely amazing, giant, oversized deluxe figure. Face looks fantastic. He's got that removable chest piece, removable heart. Very, very nicely done. The chains, sculpting, it's all really nice. Here's Grundy next to the Arkham City Batman, just to put into perspective how large this figure is. And here's this absolutely giant Batman Arkham City Deluxe Clayface. Clayface was the final boss in the game, and he was just huge. This is probably the biggest 7-inch scale figure that DC Direct or DC Collectibles has ever made. Let's take a look. Batman Arkham City Clayface. DC Collectibles. Here he is in the package. He's got some interchangeable arms, and then he has a head that will swap with a Joker head. Clayface is one of my favorite Batman villains, so I was so excited to get this unique version. One side of the package, Clayface. Other side, a nice close-up. The back, you can see an advertisement for some of the other deluxe figures, and this is pretty much how they scale up. And here's Clayface out of the package. Articulation is a little bit weak. Joints are super tight. Sculpt is amazing. The size of this guy is just unbelievable. I kind of wish he didn't have these ice crystals all over his back. Would have made for more of an all-purpose Clayface. Very nice figure nonetheless. Look at Clayface's face. And then Clayface next to an Arkham City Batman. My word. Good 4 times the height. And while not part of the DC Direct Arkham City collection, Mattel made a bunch of Arkham City figures in their Batman Legacy line. We have Harley Quinn, Batman and Two-Face, Robin and the Joker, another Batman, Batman and Catwoman, Batman and Catwoman variant, and Nightwing. One cool thing, Mattel actually scaled these to fit in with the DC Collectibles figures. They were larger than your average DC Universe Classics figure. Here are all the Mattel Arkham City figures out of the box. It's a really nice line. They're a little bit better articulated than the DC Collectibles figures, and less fragile. I absolutely love the fact that they fit in together. Among the 4 officially released Batman variants, there was one unreleased. That's the all-black suit version. I believe, if I recall correctly, he was going to be some kind of Wii U exclusive version, but it never actually dropped. I was able to find a Chinese loose one on eBay. Very happy I did. Love having all 5 of these figures together. When Mattel switched to the multiverse, they switched to a 3.75-inch scale, and I personally absolutely despise that scale. I'm a 6 and 7-inch type of guy. I was really mad when Mattel's crossed over. They made these really cool 2-packs, Batman vs. Clayface, Batman vs. Solomon Grundy, and Nightwing vs. Killer Croc. These are all based off the Arkham City game, and even though the scale is not to my liking, Clayface, Solomon Grundy, and Killer Croc were all large, oversized deluxe figures. They worked pretty good with the 6 and 6.5 DC Universe Classics figures. Here are these 3 guys out of the package. Nice figures, detailing considerably softer than the larger DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures, and even softer than the DC Collectibles figures, that's for sure. But like I said, they fit in pretty nicely with the Mattel DC Universe Classics scale. They're a little bit larger than Batman here. And during their brief stint of 7-inch DC figures, NECA made an Arkham City Harley Quinn. Now we've got plenty of Arkham City Harley Quinn figures at this point, so I wasn't that excited, but it is a very nice figure. Harley Quinn, here she is on the front, DC, top, Harley Quinn, NECA, she comes with a bat, a couple extra hands, and a couple machine guns. Harley Quinn, backside, once again. Here's the NECA Harley Quinn out of the box. It's a very nice figure, but we've gotten plenty of variations of the Arkham City Harley Quinn. She moves good, she looks good, and the accessories are fine. I would have loved to have seen what NECA would have done if they could continue to make DC figures. And that'll wrap up the Arkham City collection. Before we move on to Arkham Origins, let's check out some of my armies, gangs, and henchmen from Arkham City. We'll start off with a bunch of orange jumpsuit prison inmates. Those guys were all over the map in the game. And here's my Arkham City style Joker gang. We've got Joker, Harley Quinn, Mr. Hammer, a bunch of Joker thugs, and some tightened up Joker thugs. Then my Penguin gang, bunch of custom henchmen, mostly in gray and black camo. Here's my Harley Quinn gang from Harley Quinn's Revenge, the DLC. Here's Rayshaw Ghoul, Talia al Ghul, and her elite guards. Very similar to what's in the game. Here's some figures that work good for some Tiger Guards working for Hugo Strange. These guys are actually Gotham City GCPD SWAT officers in my action figure world, but they'll double up as some Tiger Guards as needed. And now on to Arkham Origins. When Arkham Origins first came out, it was a little bit of a disappointment, and that is not to say it's a bad game. It is pretty much a complete rehash of Arkham City, just slightly altered. It's the exact same map, same gameplay. The storyline is very good, but coming out of the shoes of Arkham City, it was a little bit of a letdown. If it was the only Batman game out there, it would be looked at with very high regard, but the fact that I had to follow Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, 2 slam dunk video game releases, this was a slight step down. In front of you we have the individual figures from both Series 1 and 2. We've got Batman, Black Mask, Joker, Bane, Killer Croc, Deathstroke, Deadshot, Anarchy, and Firefly. Very nice character selection. So let's check them out. wave by wave. So here's Series 1, Batman, Joker, Black Mask, and Bane. Now notice Bane is in much larger packaging. Originally, he was priced the same as the other figures. DC Collectibles was simply sort of hooking up with that release. So let's take a look. The clamshell has changed. This one, kind of shaped like a bat symbol. Batman in here. Batman, Arkham Origins, Batman action figure, Series 1. Pretty cool package. Here's the rest of the first assortment. A lot of heavy hitters in the first wave. Joker and Black Mask were definitely the two main villains of the game. Bane was also up there. Here is the Joker. Looks pretty cool. A new version of the Joker just coming to Gotham. Arkham Origins, the Joker, Series 1. The rest of the wave. Here is Black Mask. I absolutely love Batman villains in suited bodies. Works great for me. His articulation is a little bit subpar. Two pistols. Arkham Origins, Black Mask. And then we've got Arkham Origins Bane. Series 1. Batman, no accessories, but a great looking Bane. If only he could move a little better. Rest of the first wave. Here's Batman out of the package. They'd started to increase the articulation at this point. Their legs wouldn't just move forward and back, they could also go outward. Very nice improvements, but the joints were still quite too tight. DC Collectibles was turning a corner at this point. Batman here has a nice big bulky armored suit. His earlier days, he wasn't nearly as sleek as later. Here's the Joker. His articulation wasn't as good as Batman's, but it's a nice looking figure. And here's Black Mask, a great looking figure. This will work good for an Arkham Origins Black Mask or a comic Black Mask easily. Look at that head sculpt. Very nicely done. Here's Bane, absolutely fantastic looking figure. A large, oversized deluxe figure for a regular price. He actually has a little bit of enhanced articulation, but most of it is hindered from his sculpt. I really do wish they made a deluxe Bane from the end of the game. Here's the Series 2 group of figures. Deathstroke, Deadshot, Killer Croc, Firefly, and Anarchy. Arkham Origins, Deathstroke, action figure, Series 2. Batman. Comes with quite a bit of stuff. Pistol, staff, sword. He looks great. Here's the rest of Series 2. Then we have Deadshot. He also looks very good. Unique look to the game. Series 2. Here is Killer Croc, a giant deluxe oversized figure for a regular price. Great detail, massive figure, in pinstripe pants, sort of gangster Croc before he evolved to what he is in Arkham City. Batman logo. Rest of the wave. Arkham Origins Firefly. This is the first time Firefly has gotten a 7-inch scale figure. And frankly, I don't even think he's had a 6-inch scale figure. I can only think of a couple 5-inch versions. Looks fantastic. Did have some issues with his wings breaking over time, as well as his leg. But he just looks amazing. Was so happy to add him to the Rogues Gallery. And finally, Arkham Origins Anarchy. First time we've ever gotten an action figure of Anarchy. He was not one of the assassins, but sort of a villain, sort of an anti-hero in the game. Rest of the wave. Here's Deathstroke out of the box. Gorgeous figure, articulation improved, good accessories. His suit has nice weathering to it. He looks great from Deathstroke from Arkham Origins. He also looks very close to his comic counterpart, and even the Snyderverse of Deathstroke. Here's Deadshot. A little bit of a different take on him. Almost looks to be in winter gear with the coat. I actually really like the way it turned out. I did have a problem with this guy breaking at the right knee. Here's Firefly. Very excited to add him to my Batman Rogues collection. It is a fantastic looking figure. Articulation was very poor, and over time, his wing is broken more than once, and his leg broke off. A lot of glue holding this guy together. But I still really enjoy having a great representation of Firefly. Looks just like the game, and could work for a comic version. Here's Anarchy. First time they've made an action figure of him. Not exactly my ideal version of Anarchy. I prefer a comic version, but it's kind of a modernized version. I absolutely love when they give us new Batman Rogues they haven't made before. He kind of looks like something from The Purge, though. Here's Killer Croc. Large deluxe oversized figure for a regular price. Excellent way of doing business. He looks good, a little more human-like. Oversized, giant gangster type human. Muscle for Black Mask. They later gave us this multi-pack. This is a 4-pack. Contains Black Mask, Batman, Deathstroke, and the Joker. Now I was really annoyed they would release something like this, as I had all the figures already. This is the only way you could get the remote claw gun for Batman, and this Batman had an open hand to use his weapon. Really, really annoying. Perhaps this would be nice for people who had missed those 4 figures originally, but I wasn't one of those guys, and I'm a completist. As you can see, Batman at the top, Arkham Origins, Batman, the Joker, Black Mask, Deathstroke, action figure 4-pack, 75 years of Batman. Most of them come with accessories. I see Black Mask, 2 pistols, Deathstroke's got a sword, staff, and pistol. Joker comes with the same nothing the original came with. And Batman, the original came with nothing, but this one has a remote claw. Great accessory that both Batman and Deathstroke can share. One side got Batman, other side, same thing. The back, here's a list of all the individual figures and some of the multi-packs that are out there. Very nice collection. Here are all 4 of these figures out of the box. Like I said, I found it really annoying to buy these guys again. If they're going to release a multi-pack like this, they should at least give you something different about these figures. Yes, Batman had a little difference, but none of the other 3 did. Come on, a little bloody, an unmasked, different accessory, something to make me feel good about buying this again. And while collecting everything from this line, I ended up with 4 different Arkham Origins Batman figures, and I can tell you where each one came from. Start with the left one. That's the single release Arkham Origins Batman. Next is from a 75th anniversary DC Comics multi-pack. Then we have the Arkham Origins Batman from this pack. Notice he has the open hands. And the last one is from a 4-pack of figures from Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight. And just when it seemed like they were done making Arkham Origins figures, they made a couple of 3-packs. The one on the left has the Joker as Red Hood, Copperhead, and Unmasked Deathstroke. On the right, we have Dr. Harleen Quinzel, Electrocutioner, and Lady Shiva. Was super cool they were finally giving us the other 3 of the 8 assassins, Copperhead, Electrocutioner, and Lady Shiva. I'm a sucker for Batman villains they've never made before, and this gave us 3 of them in one fell swoop. 75 Years of Batman, Batman, Arkham Origins, the Joker as Red Hood, Copperhead, and Deathstroke Unmasked action figure 3-pack by DC Collectibles. Copperhead is, of course, the thing I was most excited for. Unmasked Deathstroke's okay, but we already had Deathstroke. And Red Hood is pretty nice. Batman, the back. Here's this multi-pack, and then a bunch of other individual figures. In this pack here, Arkham Origins, Dr. Harleen Quinzel, Electrocutioner, and Lady Shiva. Really excited to get a doctor or civilian, and Harley Quinn before she was transformed. Electrocutioner, one of those grade D Batman villains. I love it. And Lady Shiva, she is actually a big opponent and nemesis to Batman. Very happy to add her as well. Back, pretty much the same thing. This multi-pack and a bunch of other figures from the line. Here are all 3 of these figures out of the box. Some really nice figures. Red Hood was done on the Joker body with a different head. Copperhead, brand new Batman Rogue. Very excited about that. And you could always have her working with the male version of Copperhead. And then Unmasked Deathstroke. At least they give us something different about Deathstroke here. And here are these next 3 figures. Dr. Harleen Quinzel, Electrocutioner, and Lady Shiva. very happy with this pack. I've gotten that Dr. Harleen Quinzel to a lot of use over the years. A great doctor or civilian. And then Electrocutioner and Lady Shiva, some new Bat Rogues. Absolutely fantastic. Now Electrocutioner came with an extra pair of hands, some fisted hands and some open hands. I've always thought about cutting the hands off of my extra Arkham Origins Batman and putting his gloves on there. Batman was using his gloves for a lot of the game. His face sculpt was very nice as well. And even though they're not part of the DC Direct collection, Mattel made some Arkham Origins figures in their Batman Unlimited line. They were making some 3.75-inch scale Arkham Origins figures, and that frustrated me as I don't collect that scale. But right at the end, they busted out a Batman and Deathstroke. Here's both that Batman and Deathstroke out of the package. These figures were a little bit smaller than the DC Collectibles versions. Not quite as big as Mattel's Arkham City offerings. Mcfarlane has also made some Arkham Origins figures in their DC Multiverse line. They made Deathstroke. We also have a Platinum Chase Gold variation of Deathstroke. Here's his Deathstroke figure out of the pack. Mcfarlane did an excellent job on him. I hope to make some more Arkham Origins figures. And before we move off the subject of Arkham Origins, let's check out some of my armies. Now you could take pretty much any Joker henchman and use them as an Arkham Origins Joker thug, but I like some suited guys. He took his thugs from Black Mask, and most of them wearing business suits. Here's an example of a decent Arkham Origins Joker thug. And then here are a few different Black Mask thugs. And here's Brandon and his team of SWAT GCPD officers. And now on to the Arkham Knight collection. Here's the entire collection laid out in front of you. Now at this point, it was sort of taken for granted they would at least give you all the main characters in the game. Some of the releases that they had shown, some of the reveals, never even came out. They were cancelled. This was kind of the end of DC Collectibles' good days. Things were starting to get rough. You wouldn't know if you'd even get the figures they were showing you. A very nice collection. The articulation has been enhanced. The sculpts are amazing. Great figures for a great game. Let's start out with the first assortment. Here is Series 1 of the Arkham Knight. This will consist of Batman, the Arkham Knight, Scarecrow, and Harley Quinn. A lot of heavy hitters in this wave. The packaging is considerably different than what came before. It's a lot more consistent than the type of figures that DC Collectibles were making at this era. So let's take a look. As you can see, Batman, Arkham Knight. Here he's in the package. He has his line launcher and a Batarang. These figures are all numbered. He is the first figure in the Arkham Knight line. And this is Batman. Articulation has greatly improved. In the back, you can see the rest of the wave. And then the Arkham Knight himself. He comes with that large rifle. Batman, Arkham Knight, second figure in the line. Arkham Knight. And then Scarecrow. He is grotesque. He comes with that mask, sort of being a fear hallucination. I absolutely love that mask there. Batman, Arkham Knight, third figure in the line. Scarecrow. And here's Harley Quinn. She has a jack-in-the-box, a pistol, and then what appears to be Batman's remote detonator. Probably some sort of detonator Harley used in the game. Arkham Knight, the fourth figure. Harley Quinn. Here's Batman out of the box. It's a great figure. Sculpt and articulation is very much improved from the previous lines. Head seems a little bit small on the body, but very pleased with this guy. And here's the Arkham Knight. This is what I like. Brand new Batman villain. Never being released before, getting an action figure release. Of course, he ended up being a familiar face. In my action figure world, I use the Arkham Knight as a separate villain. He has Arkham Knight militia to himself. Here's Scarecrow. He's all messed up from what Croc did to him in Arkham Asylum. The figure looks great. He's a very scary, intimidating character in the game. Here's Harley Quinn. Her outfit's considerably different from the previous games, yet familiar at the same time. Nice looking figure. Here's Wave 2 of the Arkham Knight figures. We've got Nightwing, Robin, Catwoman, and Commissioner Gordon. A bunch of Batman supporting characters. Batman Arkham Knight, the 5th figure in the line. This is Nightwing. He comes with his batons, both open and closed. Rest of the wave. Here's Robin. Similar outfit to Arkham City, but a much better figure. Arkham Knight, figure number 6, Robin. He's got 2 staffs, a sort of Robin Batarang, a bunch of hands, and a shield. Here's Catwoman, Arkham Knight, 7th figure, Catwoman. She has a whip and a bunch of extra hands. And here's Commissioner Gordon, Arkham Knight, figure number 8, Commissioner Gordon. He has a pistol, a walkie, extra hand. He had a pretty big role in the game. Very pleased to add a Commissioner Gordon Arkham style to my collection. Here's Nightwing, considerably better than the Arkham City figure. Articulation's great. He has a kind of armored suit. He looks fantastic. Here's Robin. His costume is very similar to the Arkham City version, but this figure is a huge improvement. The accessories are fantastic, articulation's good, the figure looks great. Here's Catwoman. Nice figure. I think I prefer her Arkham City costume a little bit. Articulation is definitely improved here. And here's Commissioner Gordon. I really like getting suited civilian characters, and I really like getting cops for my GCPD, so this goes a win-win in both categories. Here is Series 3. This consists of Azrael, Professor Pig, Man-Bat, and the Red Hood. Now, Man-Bat was a larger deluxe figure, and he was for a deluxe price, not the standard price like some of the Arkham Origins figures. So let's take a look. Arkham Knight, figure number 9, Azrael. He looks amazing. His sword is great. He's a huge improvement over the Arkham City version. You can see the rest of the wave. Here's Professor Pig. Quite sick and deranged in the game. Very well done. He has a Dollotron mask. His pig mask, which is removable to show his ugly face. Then he has an apron and gloves covered in blood with a butcher's cleaver. Figure number 10, Professor Pig. And now we have Man-Bat, Arkham Knight, figure number 11, Man-Bat, giant wing spread. He's all messed up looking in the face, got these medical tubes all over him. Very weird and sick looking figure. Man-Bat. The rest of the wave. And here's Red Hood, Arkham Knight, figure number 12, Red Hood. It's the Arkham Knight, and he's got the Red Hood helmet on underneath. Here's Azrael. This is the Mcfarlane version of the character. The sculpt, articulation are just fantastic on this guy. Huge improvement for the Arkham City Azrael. Here's Professor Pig. This is the first and only time any company has given us a 6 or 7 inch Professor Pig. Although it's not exactly like the comic version, it'll definitely fit in if you want to use him for that display. Here's Man-Bat. Large wing spread, a lot of detail, great looking figure, disturbing face. Here's Arkham Knight as the Red Hood. A lot of reuse from the Arkham Knight figure, same body, but he has the red hood on top. Now this could be a spoiler for the game, so this is definitely why it wasn't in an earlier series. As the Arkham Knight line was dwindling down, some of the figures they showed didn't even get released. This last wave only's got 2 figures. Neither one were in the actual main storyline. This is the Joker and Harley Quinn. The Joker in his Killing Joke vacation type outfit. It was from a flashback. And then Harley Quinn here. She's in her classic jester outfit. She was from A Matter of Family, a prequel to the game. There was also a Poison Ivy figure that was supposed to come out with these guys, and she was canceled. There was also an Arkham Knight Militia 3-pack 2 Arkham Knight Militia, and a Batman figure. I was really annoyed they canceled that. Batman, Arkham Knight, the 13th figure. This is the Joker in his vacation outfit. He's got his camera, just like the Killing Joke, but a little modernized. And then Harley Quinn. This is one of my favorite classic 7-inch scale Harley Quinn figures. It might be my favorite one. She has a Harley Quinn bat, a bunch of different hands. Arkham Knight, figure 14. Harley Quinn. Here's the Joker. A lot of interesting details on this figure. From the bandage on his arm to the little band-aid on his shin. He's got the pale white skin under his shirt. A Killing Joke version of Joker, but modernized. And here's Harley Quinn. She might be my favorite classic Harley Quinn in the Jester outfit. I just really like the way she looks. She moves pretty good, and she's scaled up pretty nicely. She'll fit in with the Mcfarlane figures pretty decent. Now the last traditional release in this line, this is a 2-pack. It's Batgirl and Oracle, both Barbara Gordon. The Batgirl is from Matter Family, the prequel DLC, and then Barbara Gordon was a large Batman supporting character in the game. Very cool to get an Oracle in a wheelchair. There's only been one other Oracle ever made. Batman, Arkham Knight, the 15th thing in the line. Batgirl and Oracle. Batgirl's a bunch of hands and a batarang. Oracle's a backpack and some headphones, and of course her wheelchair. You can see some other recent figures on the back. Here's both Batgirl and Oracle out of the box. Both these figures are great. It's a really nice Barbara Gordon Batgirl. And then just getting a modern Oracle. 2 thumbs up. Very happy they released Oracle. And there was also this GameStop exclusive wave. This consists of a battle damaged Batman and then a Red Hood. I believe that Red Hood figure is probably the most valuable in the entire line. Batman, Arkham Knight, they're not numbered. Somebody says GameStop exclusive. This is Batman, battle damaged. Same Batman, but he's got a little bit of sort of muddied up stuff on him. You can see they're showing you Series 1. And this is Red Hood. This is how he looks in his DLC, which takes place after the game. I believe he killed Black Mask in that DLC. He's got 2 pistols, which make up the Arkham Knight rifle. GameStop exclusive, Red Hood. He looks nice, kind of modern Arkham style Red Hood. Series 1 again. Here's this Batman. I'm not sure if I'd exactly describe it as battle damaged. More so just dirty. His cape, it looks cool, just kind of muddied up. Same exact figure though. I now have 3 Arkham Knight Batman figures, and I can tell you where each one is from left to right. The first one is the single release of Batman from Wave 1. The second one is this battle damaged GameStop exclusive. And the third one is from a 4-pack consisting of Batman from Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight. They're all a slight bit different. Here's Red Hood. He's in his biker sort of outfit, but has an Arkham twist to it. I guess after the game, he pledged himself to become a member of the Bat family. Doesn't really clear that up in the game, but it seems like he kind of switched sides. A little too late though. Now Mattel made some Arkham Knight figures, but they were all in the smaller 3.75 inch scale, and I personally despise that scale. But they made an Arkham Knight Batmobile. I really wanted to get one, as it was almost a different character in the game. You use it so much. This is some kind of San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. It had light-up features, sounds, and it would transform into battle mode. Unfortunately, it is scaled up far too small for what I collect. Here's this Batmobile, both in the box and out of the box. Here it is in regular mode. And here, in battle mode, even though this thing is way too small, it is an absolutely fantastic background piece. Mcfarlane also made an Arkham Knight Batman in their DC Multiverse line. An absolutely fantastic figure. Scales up just a tiny bit larger than DC Collectibles figures. but can be fudged in. Here's both the regular version and the gold platinum chase variant. And here's this Batman out of the package. An absolutely fantastic Arkham Knight Batman release. And before we move out of Arkham Knight, let's check out my Arkham Knight armies. Here's the Arkham Knight and his militia. Took a bunch of figures, some with a red, white, and black camo, some repainted, some substitutes. Pretty nice to have Arkham Knight with his full militia. Here's a couple of Scarecrow Henchmen. Scarecrow came with this awesome mask. I had messaged some people on the forums and received a second mask. If anybody has an extra and doesn't want it, drop me a line in the comments. I put these on a couple of figures, and it's as if you've been hit with a fear gas, and that's what you're seeing. And then here's Professor Pig with a few of his Dollatrons. This is an absolutely fantastic army. I was really happy to get some Dollatrons for him. I had one mask, but then some guy made a cast of them and sent me a bunch just for an experiment. It worked out great in my favor. And then the very last thing to show, this is a 5-pack. This will consist of Batman from Arkham Asylum, Batman from Arkham Origins, Batman from Arkham City, Batman from Arkham Knight, and Bruce Wayne from Arkham City. It is the only way you can get the Arkham City Bruce Wayne, and that really sucked, because the set was probably over $100. So let's take a look. Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham Origins, Batman Arkham City Bruce Wayne, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight, the Arkham logo, DC Collectibles, 5 figures, bunch of different Bat gadgets from the games. One side, a couple of Batman. Other side, the other 2 Batman and Bruce Wayne. On the back, the logo from each of the 4 video games. It is a pretty cool box set, but I wish there was another way to get this Bruce Wayne. And then here are all 5 of these figures out of the box. It's a good set, and I really like that Bruce Wayne. His articulation is subpar, and it was very annoying how they made you get him. So that'll wrap up my Arkham collection. Arguably my favorite Batman collection in action figure form from any company. They just went all out for Arkham City, and they covered most of the characters from all the 4 games. You got so many Batman villains that hadn't been released before. That made me very happy, and the sculpt and paint jobs were pretty much excellent on everything. Yeah, the articulation could be better at the beginning, and it had some breakage issues. But this is my favorite Batman line out there. So 2 thumbs up to DC Direct. We definitely miss you. Some great action figures for some great games. Hopefully Mcfarlane will make some more Arkham figures, and hopefully Gotham Knights and the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League are great games as well. The next episode of my unopened Batman action figure collection is going to consist of DC Direct and DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series line. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is dHunter. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure collection videos and action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is dHunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.